All right, then since we successfully created our Firebase project and configured all the necessary settings like database storage and authentication, now what we have to do is we have to bring the Firebase project into our local React app. To do that, all we have to do is to download the Firebase first, right? If you go to your project settings, and there you can see all your configurations, settings and all API keys and everything. And if you notice that it's showing you have to install this package in your project. So let's go ahead and open up your terminal. I'm gonna jump into the new terminal and make sure that you are inside the client folder. If you are inside the client folder, then write this command yarn add Firebase. So that will bring the Firebase into our project. So it's adding the Firebase. So this might take some time. So until it's successfully downloaded, so you have to wait patiently. So in my case, it's downloaded successfully. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse all the folder, jump into the client, go to the source and create a new folder called config. Inside the source folder, you have to create a new folder called config, and inside the config folder, we have to create a new project called firebase.config.js. All right. So now what we have to do is we have to bring all these things in over here. So let's bring it. So import from where? From Firebase/app. From here, we have to bring the initialize app, get app, and get apps. These are the methods that we are supposed to bring inside. Then, of course, we need to get the authentication part. So import from Firebase/get auth, which means auth. So we have to get the get auth method from there. Then import, we need to get the Firestore information also from Firestore, Firebase Firestore. So we have to get the information in the get Firestore, something like that. Get Firestore, where it is Firestore. Yep. Then of course we need to get the storage method also from Firebase/storage. So to get that, you need to get storage method. These are the methods that we have to use to access different settings which we enabled over here, mainly for your authentication, storage, and for the databases. Right. So now all we have to do is to copy this Firebase config from here, copy it, and paste it over here. So now we copied it and everything. Now what I need to do is I have to create an app first. So const app. So using the get apps method, get apps dot length. If the length is greater than 0, which means our app is already initialized, so we don't have to reinitialize the same app again and again. So if it is say so, we need to get that app information, or else I need to initialize the new app just by using this Firebase configuration which I have in my hand. So once I have the app information, then I need to get the auth. So const auth object equal to get auth, supply your app information. So this will get all the authentication providers information which is related to the authentications, right? Then get the database. So const db equals to get Firestore and supply your app information. Then we have to get const storage equals to get storage and supply your app information. All right. Then we have to export all these things. Export app, db, and storage. So we have to we don't need app, we need to get the auth. So these are the these are the objects which I might use somewhere inside in the different components. So I need this, so I have to export it. Now what I need to do is I have to keep all these things securely. So to do that, we have to create an environment variables. So let's use the OpenAI, open the ChatGPT and search for create environment variables for React app to store the Firebase configurations. Okay. All right, so now if you notice here, you can see we have all the respective variables which we needed. So all we have to do is to copy this and put it into our environment file. Then we have to replace with our API key, right? So we don't have to type and everything. So this is how you have to create your the variables and everything. So what we have to do is to simply copy this code and go to your project folder. I think we have to keep it inside. This is the place where we have the git ignore. So we have to keep it inside our project folder. Click your client folder and create .env, right? And then paste it over here. So, and open up your git ignore file and right after here. So we have to ignore the environment file. So let's say .env, right? So we have to ignore this file from the root folder over here. Okay, so this is the file that we have to ignore. Already you can see it's already the environment local, environment test local, environment production local. We have to ignore the environment folder, which the file which we created. So jump into the env file, and this is the place where we have to change all our keys and everything. First, let's copy our API key, copy it and put it over here. All right, then we have to change this, copy it from here and change it over here. So while copying and pasting, please make sure that you didn't make any unwanted mistakes, because we don't want to run into any issues. Project ID, we copied the auth domain, project ID, and storage bucket. We need the storage bucket. Change the storage bucket and copy this message sending ID, paste it over here. Then we need the Firebase app ID, copy it and replace this over here. Save these changes. Let me leave some spaces over here to maintain it. See, I missed the double quotes. These are the issues that we might run into at some point. If you make any unwanted mistakes over here, that will always be a headache, right? So we are finished with the env file configurations. And now what we have to do, we have to change this stuff exactly the same thing. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to replace this part. Save these changes, right? So process.env, Firebase API key, React Firebase API key, auth domain. So please use the same stuff, because we don't want to run into any issues, unwanted issues and all those things, right? Right. So then what we have to do, we have to restart our server because we added the environment file. So restart it. Yarn start. So if you restarted it, yep, it's starting the development server. All right, so there is no issues so far, which means this file is loaded and we are not run into any issues. But the time when we are using, we are working on the authentication part. If we might run into some issues, then somewhere we misspell the API or anything which we configured with our env file. So now, so far there is no mistakes. So let's go ahead. Now what we have to do is we have to bring this, like when you click it, I need to get back to that the login portal, which need to take the user to the Gmail authentication portal. So that's what we have to do next.